Welcome to my channel, The Webpreneur. Hello everyone. It is 10 p.m. now and the time is to start our Moonlighting session. Welcome to my channel, The Webpreneur, where we do vibe coding and we build apps, micro-saas apps or mobile apps using Flutter. And we do that using vibe coding. We use AI to build our apps. And we have been already building one Flutter app for travel planning. And that's the same app we're going to continue today. If you have not seen my previous stream where I have built the home screen of that app, I highly recommend please go back and check my episode number 25, right? This is the stream number 27. So go and check stream number 25, where I have walked you through while building the home screen of our travel planning app. And today we are going to start from where we left off, and we are going to move to the next screen, which is itinerary planning screen or itinerary generation screen. So without waiting any further, and before I start sharing my screen, I have a request. If you want to discuss with me about anything, if you have any question, if you want to share any thoughts even, right? You can use our chat and ask me questions directly over the chat, and I'll try to respond them. And also we have a dedicated Q&A session planned, which will happen almost an hour after some time, after an hour, right? And there is a counter running which will, when reach to 0, that is when we'll do a short Q&A based on the number of questions. I'll take it for like maybe a couple of minutes to 5 or 10 minutes and so on. Okay, and I hope you really enjoy the streams, and it is not for entertainment. It is not for you to just watch. It is for you to learn. It is for you to practice. It is for you to do things. Okay, that's my main motivation. My motivation is not to entertain people. My motivation is to make people do things. And if you see, if you watch me doing the thing and you follow the same thing, then you will also have the exact same things which I'm building. You know, there is no rocket science here, right? It's all very easy to do. It's all very simple to follow. Just keep following me and keep building the stuff, and who knows where you can reach with that. You know, maybe you can earn a lot of fame, money, whatever, right? And if you have not even started your career, maybe this could be a way for you to even kick off your career. Okay, so all the very best, and wish me all the very best also. And let's start our stream. So we are going to start our Moonlighting session where we do vibe coding. All right, so let me quickly switch over to my VS Code, and I'm gonna launch my same workspace which I've been using to build my app, right? And the very first thing which I have to do is, of course, after launching the VS Code, what I have to do is to start my emulator, which is where we test because there's a Flutter app where we are using Android to test this app. So as you know, Flutter can build both iOS and Android apps, and right now we are building a Flutter app for Android, and we are testing it for Android. You know, so we can maybe at some point after we have done it for Android, we may switch it. We may switch our platform to iOS and test this app, how it looks, how it behaves, how it functions in the iOS device also. Okay. Anyways, so our emulator is launched, and what we can do is let's launch our app, and let's first quickly test it. You know, let's see whatever we have done so far, is it still working, or are there still any issues that we need to resolve? So let me wait for the app to compile, and after it is compiled, after it will be compiled, it will run the app in my Android emulator, and there we will be able to test our app. All right, so this is how the sort of welcome screen of the app looks. I know it's very plain, very basic, very simple, but we're gonna improve it very soon. So let's enter a source location. And what location do we enter? So it's a travel planning app, so we have to enter a starting point, right? A source, and then from a source we'll reach to destination. So we have to enter 2 locations starting from source. So what shall I pick for a source location? Let's enter some location. I don't know, Beijing. I don't know if I'm spelling it right. Okay, so it helped me with the spelling, and it had automatically suggested me the correct town with the correct spelling. Maybe I was not using the right spelling. Okay, and what do we get? So we get a map of Beijing as its center, and then there are a bunch of places within Beijing, and we have got photos of those places, and we have got the ratings of those places, right? So this is Beijing. From Beijing, where are we going? Let's say we go to Shenzhen. What is the spelling of Shenzhen? Is something like this? No, I think Shen, it starts. Okay, wait. Shenzhen. I hope it'll suggest me. Yeah, this one. No, not Luxembourg. Oh, okay. Anyways, so we entered the wrong spelling of Shenzhen, which is a city in China, and by mistake we went to Luxembourg, which is not in China. So anyways, the whole point is that now we see a map of a place called Shenzhen, right? I don't know how it's spelled. I'm sorry if I'm spelling it wrong or pronouncing it wrong. And then we also see the bunch of places within that location with its photos and ratings, right? So these are the two locations we have selected. One is the source, one is the destination. And then we're going to click on generate itinerary. So we have already worked on the itinerary planning part, and it says an error occurred while generating the itinerary. Okay. And I have a guess what might be the error. But anyways, we're going to fix this error. So today we are going to move to this generate itinerary screen, right? Which has not come yet, but we have already seen, because we have already worked on this screen earlier, and we have got a basic itinerary planning sort of a algorithm in place, which does itinerary generation. It takes you from source to destination via some places in between, although it's not as great or as useful as I want it to be, but it for the starters it was not so bad. And today we are not going to work on the functionality of it, but we're going to work on the UI of that itinerary screen, right? Because as you might know, while we are building the app, right, especially mobile apps, it's very important that they look nicer, right? They don't look very basic or should not have like any kind of a UI at all. So we don't enjoy working on those kind of apps which don't have a nice UI to them, right? So that's why I'm putting a little bit emphasis on having a UI in place so that I enjoy while building this app. Okay, so moving on, let me first fix this itinerary thing. And I have a hint, which is okay. Why do we rely on the hint? Let's go to our Firebase, right? And we'll straight away see the logs of, because it would have triggered a cloud function, and as I saw the log, there was an internal error, and that kind of error occurs mostly when there's an error from the cloud itself, right? So this generate itinerary, let's see if this generate itinerary cloud function has thrown any error. Okay, so you see the log here. It says generating itinerary from Beijing to Shenzhen, and then we got a 400 error, right? So let's expand it a little bit. Request failed with status code 400. So 400, as everyone knows, it's like the authentication issue, right? So while we are making the request to some map service, it is failing due to there is some error within the authentication. So what I know is we have the maps API key here present in the environment .env file for within our functions, and this is still referring to the old Google Map API key. It is not updated one because we have already sort of deleted or rotated this API key, and this API key is no longer valid. So we have to update this API key, and I'm not gonna do it in front of you. It's a very simple process. I'm gonna, I have a new API key. I'm just gonna replace that with this one. So let me move my screen and let me quickly do that. So I've done that. I have updated my API key, the Google Maps API key. But the next part is I have to update my cloud function again. Okay, because the API key was updated within the environment file of the cloud function. So we have to update that. And for that, we first of all, of course, I have to use Node version 20 because our Firebase CLI sort of does not work without that. And then I have to do Firebase auth login reauth. Then it's going to ask me to authenticate via my account, and then I have to enter my password. After I enter hopefully my correct password, I have to just authenticate with my Firebase CLI again, and that's happened, right? So this is the email ID with which I have authenticated with my Firebase CLI. And now what I have to do is I have to functions. Okay, what was deploy? Yeah, Firebase deploy new functions and under this project, right? So I have just updated my Maps API key. I have not done any other change. I have not added any new code or anything, right? It's just my old API key was sort of outdated. It was no longer valid. That's why we were getting errors. So I have just updated the API key. Now after this whole cloud function update will done, we are going to run our app again and we are going to try to generate itinerary again. So let's wait for this to happen. And meanwhile, let me remind you again. So we have this countdown timer running here, which says Q&A in 46 minutes and 39 or 38 seconds, right? So if you have any questions, right, that you want to ask me, I hope you are building your own app and you have any doubt, right? And you should have doubt, right? Or maybe you are facing some bug and you want to ask how do you resolve that bug? You can ask me over the chat, okay? And I'll try as best as possible to help you for resolving your issues, your bugs. I want to really make your life simple, okay? So that you can also build your own apps, and it will be so great that you can share it with me, and I'll be very happy to see if some of you are able to build your maybe first apps, right? Like imagine the happiness of building your own first mobile app and the possibilities that can create with that, you know, possibilities of course generating lots of fans on social media or even revenue and so on. Okay, so anyways, while my this cloud function is getting updated, as you can see, it's just a Node.js app, right? Using Node.js 18. So by the way, if you don't know what I'm doing, this cloud function, I have explained this very properly in my older streams. So please go and check those, right? My vibe coding sessions where I'm building the same app, because this app I've been building over multiple streams, right? So in every stream, I cannot like go in detail into each and every component of the app, because we are slowly building. We are like, brick by brick, we are actually, setting this whole thing up. And so that's all. So please watch my previous streams if you're curious that how it all is working. Okay. And again, if you have any questions, please ask me over the chat. And since it's live stream, I cannot really fast forward. I cannot pause anything. I cannot like edit, chop, and remove these bits where I have to wait for something. And that's how the deal is. But again, the advantage is, since we are connected live, if you have any thoughts, questions, doubts, anything, you can share with me and I can respond back to you. Okay, so our Firebase cloud function has been updated. I hope so. That's what it said. Yeah, deploy complete, right? So cloud function is updated. We're going to run our Flutter app again, and we are going to try to generate the itinerary again. And of course, we have to enter again the source and destination. Let's try the same thing. Let's try Beijing. I hope the spelling was right? And I tried Shenzhen last time. Where's the other? Okay, let's go to Hong Kong this time. I know that's not in China, but it's nearby. So we are going from Beijing to China, right? That's the kind of a travel plan we are trying to build. And we're going to click on generate itinerary. No. So it says it failed again. So let's check back our logs and see what went wrong. So I'm going to go back to my function again. Click on the view logs. And let me see what went wrong again. Okay. So this time it was a very, very weird error. And the error was no routes found. So that's very interesting, right? So I have not faced this error, and this is some kind of extreme scenario, right? It is what we call edge case, where we have two places, a source and a destination, and then there is no route available between those places. I didn't know that. I didn't know there is no route possible at all from going from Beijing to Hong Kong. That's fine. Anyways, since we now know it, so we can of course add some checks in our code to handle these kind of scenarios. But that means our app is still working fine. So what we can do is we can try with other destination. So let's do one thing. I think I'm not very good with the names of the places in China. So what else? Let's try some place in Europe. Let's say London. Let's say London. From London, we're gonna go. Let's say we're gonna go to Wales in Ireland. Okay. So now we have shifted our idea, because we cannot travel in China because there are no location, like there are no routes available. But between London and Wales, both are in UK. I hope there will be routes available. So let's try generate itinerary again. And let's see if we are able to generate an itinerary between London and Wales. And there we have it, right? So this is our itinerary screen, right? This is currently how it looks. So the functionality itself is working at a basic level, which we of course have intention to improve further, but that's not the focus of this stream. In this stream, the UI, it's not so nice, and it is also not having the kind of features which I wanted to have, right? So those additional features we're gonna add, but without changing any of the core functionality of this itinerary generation. So let's see what's suggesting. So there is a start of trip. It starts from London, and then it says visit Buckingham Palace, then it says visit Tower Bridge, visit British Museum, and end of trip, right? So very basic, kind of couple of places in between, and that's it, right? But as you might think, this is not like a very interesting itinerary, right? An itinerary should also have places where you can have breakfast, you can have snacks, you can stay, you can lay over. Like there should be option if you want to visit parks, if you want to visit some I don't know, like lake, or if you want to visit some museums, right? So these sort of things should be there. So that's what we're gonna improve upon. And for that, the very first thing which I'm going to do is I'm going to ask our AI, which is Gemini 2.5 Pro, to first use a sort of a static itinerary, because every time if we have to go to home screen, we have to enter the source and destination and generate itinerary. It's a long process, right? So I'm gonna ask it to have some sort of a itinerary already loaded, and so that whenever I restart the app, it launches directly to that itinerary, and whatever the data it will use as a JSON, it should be kind of a hard-coded data. And I would also recommend it to not make the call to the cloud function, rather it should store that JSON data somewhere within the app itself. So before we start doing that, first thing is, because I'm going to start a new session, I'm going to first put my Cline, right? This is the Cline AI agent that I use for coding within my Visual Studio Code, and we are using Gemini 2.5 Pro model. Okay, so I have this file called develop.md, So I'm gonna reference to this file. I'll just say read this file and tell me in your own words what do you understood about this app. Okay, so the whole point of this prompt, which is a very simple prompt, is to sort of warm up the Gemini within this session. So this is one session that we're gonna like have a lot of to and fro messages, right? So within this session I wanted to give the context of our app, and for that I have shared this develop.md file. And if you are new to my stream, then this develop.md file actually contains the development plan, which is the very first thing which I have built before starting this app, right? So it's a development plan which has multiple milestones listed in it, and so this is how we are basically tracking the progress of our app. Okay, and it's very important. So while we are doing it, we have to track how far we have come, how far we have to go. And let me quickly read through what it thinks, right? How it describes this app within its own words. Okay, based on a develop.md file, I understand that this project is a Flutter based travel itinerary planning application. Good. Here's a summary. What the app is. The application is designed to automatically generate a travel itinerary for users. A user simply inputs a starting point and an end point. The backend, powered by Firebase Cloud Function, then communicates with external services like Google Maps, Places to fetch route details and points of interest. Algorithm processes this information to create a structured timeline that includes several segments, sightseeing, stock, meal breaks. This generated itinerary is then stored in a Firebase database. Yeah. Completed work. The foundational the current focus to itinerary visualization. Okay, so first thing is I understood that it understood about the app. After I read its response, I know that it has clearly understood what this app is about. So that's a great thing. That's a good thing, right? Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna start telling it about our next steps. So let me keep it in the plan mode, because in the plan mode it cannot edit any file, it cannot change any file, delete any file, right? So that is like a safe way, and we're gonna just have sort of a discussion, and I'm gonna I'm trying to explain it what is the goal of this session that we're gonna start today. Okay, you got it right. This is a travel planning app. Today we are working on itinerary screen UI. For which I want you to store a dummy itinerary in the app itself, so that I can test the UI without making calls to cloud function. Okay. So this is the only thing, right? As I said, the first thing I wanted to do is it should launch whenever I restart the app. It should launch the app within this itinerary screen, and it should already have a dummy itinerary sort of stored within the app without making any calls to cloud function. Okay, so that's how we can speed up this UI development process, right? And let me mention it to speed up the UI dev process. Okay. And when I relaunch the app, it should always launch first the itinerary screen and not the home screen, at least temporarily. Okay. So for temporary reasons, because we are working on this itinerary generation screen, right? we're gonna sort of bypass the home screen, and we're gonna, whenever we relaunch the app, we want to straight away jump to our itinerary generation screen. Okay. Good. So it says, excellent. That's a very smart approach for accelerating UI development. To achieve this, we'll need to perform two main tasks. Create a dummy itinerary. Yes. Modify the app's entry point. Okay. Create a dummy itinerary. Okay. So it got it, and it's asking me to switch it to the act mode. And if you are not aware of the Cline, so as I told you at the beginning that it has this plan mode where it cannot edit or delete or change any files, right? Then it's asking itself to put it to act mode. Now in the act mode, it can actually edit files, delete files, and so on, right? So let me just switch it over to the act mode. That way, whatever we have asked it to do, it can do it. Now before that, I just remembered, it's a good idea to commit all our changes. By the way, why this .2 file is still in, okay, for that I have to add this. Where is this coming from? So home screen UI changes, let's commit them. Why these are still, anyways, that's fine. So I've committed my old changes, so that way it will not be lost, and we can always come back to the current state of the app, which is fairly working fine, and I'm quite happy with the current state. So I don't want to lose that. That's why I have committed my changes into the Git. And if you don't know the Git, I highly recommend, if you want to do vibe coding, if you want to build apps, to learn Git, because it's a very, very important way to manage your code and to keep it safe. It's a change management, right? So whatever changes you make, you can keep those changes secured. So whenever you do any new changes on top of the old changes, you'll have like a sort of a snapshot where you can always come back, and if you really need to, you can always start back from there. Okay. So it's like if you are a gamer or if you have been playing games, checkpoints, quick saves, those sort of things. Okay. So Cline is doing its thing. It has created this dummy itinerary, and it would make the change in the app so that whenever I restart the app, it should directly launch this itinerary screen. And we're gonna work on the UI updates of this itinerary screen. And this is vibe coding, right? We instruct AI that what we want it to do, and it just does that. Now, whenever it does something, that does not mean it always does the correct thing, right? It is our responsibility to always make sure whatever it's doing, it is doing the correct thing. And it has actually left the Git thing there. Okay. So what I was telling is, it is our responsibility to always make sure that it is doing the correct thing, and that we can only do by testing the app, right? So while as a vibe coder, we are not a coder as in like a developer, we are more of a user or a tester of the app, because AI is building the app for us and we are guiding it. But at the same time, we are also using the app as a user, and we are giving it our guidance, we are giving it our user feedback, and we are sort of testing the app regularly, right? And that is actually the very great process to build very user-friendly and nice apps. Okay. So if I was not doing the vibe coding, what was I doing? I would have been writing all this code which Gemini has generated for me, like hours of work, right? Which I've been doing without even be able to think how my app looks, how my app function, like how a user will feel while using this app. But because of this vibe coding, right, I can always use my app as a user, even though while I'm building it. right? So that is a very, very neat advantage of building apps via vibe coding that I think. Anyways, so now this green message, it means it thinks that it has done whatever it was supposed to do, and it is my responsibility to test it. But let me first of all read it what it has done. I have created a dummy itinerary screen now uses the dummy data. Now you can test the app without needing to connection. Okay, the app will now launch. Okay, so let's test that. Let's quickly kill our Firebase, sorry, not Firebase, Flutter app, and let's try to rerun this Flutter app. And as per what it told, that the app should launch directly to the itinerary screen, and there it's gonna have this dummy itinerary already, and it should display that dummy itinerary in place, and that's what it is, right? So if you have noticed, I have not entered any source and destinations, and it has directly took me through itinerary screen without even clicking the button. And this itinerary screen which I'm seeing, it's actually a dummy screen. There's no cloud function algorithm got triggered to generate this itinerary, right? And why we are doing it? We are doing it so that we can only focus on the UI elements without worrying about the features or anything. And as you might guess, later what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask it to remove this dummy itinerary and plug back the home screen. So when the app launches, the home screen should open up, and we're gonna enter our own source and destination and generate itinerary, and then the itinerary should start coming back. But that's what we're gonna do after we are done with the UI implementation of our itinerary screen. Okay, so right now let's plan about our itinerary screen, how it should look. Okay, now again, if you remember earlier, I was doing this mistake where I had some sort of a UI in my mind, and I was trying really hard. I was trying to force AI to build the UI in the same way that I had envisioned, and it was really not doing that nice of a job. But this time, and then later I learned that it's always better to give full control to the AI, that ask it, tell it that these are the things I want, but don't get into the details. Let AI take care of the details. Let it handle, let it take the steering in its own hand. You know, like if it's a self-driving car and you tell AI to go from one place to another. Now if you keep instructing, don't drive sort of in this lane, drive in this lane, and so on. So those are like very nitty-gritties which a driver should not get into. A driver should think about the larger picture, that okay, it's going from point A to point B, and that's how it should be. Okay, so I'm just giving it the direction again. Now for the itinerary screen, I have some directions in mind, so I'm going to give it this itinerary, or let me just say this screen looks really basic and not modern at all. Also, it lacks any sort of customization features that I want this app to have. Let me list down few acceptance criteria. Okay, so in the last video we talked about the acceptance criteria, where we describe, okay, these are the things that we want, and you do it, and I will test the app based on these acceptance criteria. If these criteria are satisfied, that means yes, this feature which you're working on, I'll consider it as complete, right? Code complete. Okay, the first thing is the UI need to look really slick and I misspelled slick and modern. Okay, number one. Number two, it needs to have an option to be able to add more places. To be able to add a place between two, let's say, points, and I hope it will understand what I mean by points. You need to have an option to be able to add a place between any 2 points, of interest. Let's say points of interest. One more thing, yeah, photos. So it also must as much as possible pull out the images for the places present within the plan from, let's say, using Google Places API. Okay. Say something. Okay. It should have so what I have in mind is this itinerary. It can have some sort of a cadence. Okay, and what I mean by that is, let's say you're traveling between 2 places. Now sometimes you're really in a hurry and you really want to like cover as much distance and as quickly as possible between these 2 places, right? That is when you would not try to stop at any place at all, maybe, or maybe for a longer time, right? So that sort of I wanted to give it sort of a slider. Yeah, that I think slider would be a good option, right? A slider to vary the cadence, where the travel will be very fast paced, like a low number of resting spots and things, or it will be a very, very leisure travel or relaxed travel, right? So I hope I will be able to explain this point to it. It should have a slider for adjusting the cadence of the travel, as in if it is related to a business meeting, the plan must be such that it should allow the least travel time between the source and destination. Else, if it is am I spelling right, leisure? I hope. If it's a leisure travel, the cadence will be slow and there would be more stops along the way. Okay, so these are the sort of acceptance criteria which I have added, and I think I have added a bit much. Let me first of all copy it and let's say paste it somewhere. Yeah, so because this last point in particular, the way I have explained it, it's a bit complicated. Maybe I myself not able to remember it, so that's why I've like copied it over. Anyways, yeah, make the changes in this screen according to the above criteria. Also, where needed, update the itinerary, update the demo itinerary plan itself can adjust the actual cloud function later. Okay. So basically what I'm telling is, if it need to sort of update the itinerary plan, this dummy itinerary plan which it has, where because all this data is coming from the itinerary plan, right? And when I have asked it to like think about this cadence thing and think of if it's a business trip or a leisure trip. So these sort of information is right now not captured in this dummy itinerary plan. So it might need to add a few more data points to this itinerary plan. That's why I have asked it to update the dummy itinerary plan itself, and will change the algorithm at a later point. Okay, because right now my aim is to get going with the UI for this itinerary as fast and as quickly as possible. Okay. And it has started doing its thing. Let me quickly read the message. There's significant update with several new requirements. I need to break this down into smaller manageable steps. Modern UI is subjective, but I can interpret it as using more modern UI patterns, better spacing, animations. Yeah, animations. I mean, I really hope there could be some animation. Add a more visually appealing color scheme. Okay, add a place between 2 points. This requires adding a button or an interactive element in the timeline to insert a new stop. This will involve updating the UI. So an add button between timeline items and creating a dialog or a new screen to search for and add a new place. Pull images from Google Places API. This will require modifying. Yeah. Okay. Travel cadence slider. This is a new feature that will affect the itinerary generation. For now, I can add a slider to the UI. The actual logic of how the slider affects the itinerary will be implemented later in the cloud function. Correct. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what it does. I hope it does a good job of building the itinerary. And I see we have got Inke again. And hello, Inke. Thank you for joining again. I mean, you are quite committed to this thing, isn't it? I mean, I really hope you are getting some good valuable information out of it. So I hope you really enjoyed it. Okay. What is this? Now that I have updated the timeline model, I need to update the dummy data. I'll search for place ID. I'll use the browser to search for these places IDs. I'll start by searching the Penn Station twin. It's asking me to run a command. Let me run a command. Okay, that's great and quite cool. Let me close this one. It does not have a place ID. Okay, I have the place ID for Penn Station. Now I am waiting for place ID for the Winslow. Okay, there is no place ID for Wins Lombardi service area. There is no place ID for that. Okay, no place ID for Wins Lombardi. Move on to next one. So basically, within its travel itinerary, which it has used the dummy itinerary, it is trying to obtain the place IDs because it need to extract the images from the place API, right? Otherwise, it will not be able to do it. How can I get the place ID for it? How can I get the place ID for it? It's not giving any place IDs. Let me try this image because this I got. Okay, I'll tell it. uh, do not ask for more place IDs and use dummy values instead. Okay, and we got error. That's fine. We can retry it, and I hope it will work. So it's trying to get the place IDs because it will make sort of some API calls to Google Places and fetch the details like maybe images and so on. And because it's a dummy thing, so I have suggested it to use everything dummy, not to ask for more place IDs because it's like a time killing. But it's still asking for place IDs. Okay, it's asking for photo examples now. And I need to provide it some photo examples. Where are the photo examples? Are there any photo examples? There was one. Maybe it will work. See if this will work. This. Yeah, and I think it has got all the required info that it needed to sort of fill up the details within our this dummy itinerary, maybe like some images and so on. So it has started basically updating the code now, and as per what I've asked it to do, like update the UI and basically those acceptance criteria that we have added here. And I can clearly see there is something happening with the API, I guess, Gemini API, because it gave an error and now it has become really slow, like it is getting stuck. So I don't know if it is my internet or the Gemini API itself is like no, facing some issues. Let's see. And it's very, very slow now. Quite slow. I mean, it is not even slow now. It has almost just stopped. I don't know. Should I be waiting for it? Okay. And it has like printed some weird characters there. I hope it knows what it's doing. But anyways. So I'm just waiting for all the changes that I've asked it to do as per my acceptance criteria. Once it is done, I'm gonna check back, basically rerun the app and see. And it says it has done it. So time to test the app now. So what I'm gonna do is kill it and again restart it, like just do Flutter run, and it will restart the app. And I'm gonna see how the app looks now. Okay. So there was supposed to be an image, I guess, which is not working correctly. And why is this so long? These cards are extremely long. What is that? Place cards have become too long, right? That's what. There's this cadence slider. Which is not doing anything right now. But why it has become too long? So that's what a feedback I have to give it. The place cards are really long. I don't know why they need to be so long in height. Can you fix it, please? Okay. I'm not happy at all with this so long out of the view kind of a card. Like why is it so long? So let's see what it has to do with that. It says it has done that. Let me stop and restart the app. So it has still not fixed it. What I think we have to do is I would take a screenshot and I'll share this screenshot. Maybe that way it will be able to better understand at what is wrong. See this screenshot. The place card for start of trip and similar other ones are very long in height. Okay. So I'm hoping that with the help of this screenshot, it will be really able to understand, because otherwise, just by prompting, just by trying to explain in text, it's very difficult for making it understand that what is wrong there. Showing that the cards without images are still very tall. This is because the build add button is also a timeline title with a fixed height. I need to make the build add button shorter. I'll remove the height. Okay, so I think it has really understood the problem there, and it will fix that problem. Let's see. So I think there is one more way to update the Flutter without completely killing the app, and that is just pressing R, which sort of reloads it, I think. Did it reload it? I don't know. Because I don't see any UI change happening. It's better to then let's kill it completely and reload again. We'll hope that the new code changes which Gemini has done would fix the issue. It's still the same problem. Okay, let me explain it. It's still the leaving from Penn Station Let me try to explain it in, like, more explicitly. Sightseeing in Chicago. Sightseeing in Chicago. Which other? What's that? Arrival. Arrival in Los Angeles. And arrival in Los Angeles. What else? These cards are very, very long. These make them of a short and normal height. Okay. So as you might see, we are really facing some challenge in just be able to translate the issue that we are trying to fix, right? As they say, half of the issue is trying to ask the better question, right? So same way, half of the challenge with the AI is to able to make it understand what you want to tell it, right? Prompting. That's why this field called prompt engineering is so much in sort of not in hype, I would say, but in demand, because prompt engineering is one technique through which you can really help AI understand what you are trying to achieve, right? But that is good in various scenarios. For vibe coding, there is no such like prompt engineering technique, especially designed for vibe coding, and it is more of a impromptu thing that we have to come up with our own ways of doing things. And again, it's the same thing, and I'm getting frustrated a little bit, like why it's not able to fix this thing now. One thing I've observed though, when this activity launches, when this screen just comes into the UI, the card remains small and then suddenly it grows very big. So there is something going on there. And I'll try to explain this now. The issue is still there. One thing I have observed is that the card remains small when the UI is launched, but it suddenly becomes very tall, maybe due to the error in loading the image or something else, right? So again, I'm just trying to share with AI my observations, that what I'm observing is happening, the behavior that is happening here, because we are sort of together trying to debug this issue, trying to resolve this issue, and AI don't have ability to see what's going on in this emulator, in this Android emulator, right? So whatever I'm seeing, whatever I'm observing, I'm trying to share with it. It only knows the code. It can like read through the code and try to guess what might be wrong, but it really cannot see like what is happening within the emulator. Although I've shared the screenshot, but that alone is not enough. So I'm trying to describe it, that what is the behavior that I'm observing, and maybe that will give it some more hint that this issue can be resolved. Oh, and we just now got a new subscriber. Nice. Thank you for subscribing. I really hope you learned something, and if you have any question, please ask me over the chat. And by the way, our Q&A timer has just run off. That means right now is the time. If you have any questions, if you have any doubt, or you have any thoughts and you want to chat in general, you can drop it over this chat window, and I'll try to, have a my view on it, my opinion on it. I'll share my thoughts on it, and if you are even facing a bug or issue while you're building your own app, you can share those with me, and I'll try to help you as much as I can. That's my promise to you. Anyways, so it has done some changes which it thinks it has done, and let's see if that has fixed the issue. It has, indeed it has, right? So earlier the issue that we were facing, that the card was suddenly becoming like too long, and it was actually linked to the image loading issue. And after I sort of gave it that my input of the behavior that I was observing, that initially the card was smaller than normal height, and when the image load failed, it was becoming elongated, then it was able to fix that issue, so which is really great. So image is not working, which is fine, because I know it is trying to use Places API to fetch images, and this is dummy itinerary, and there are really not images available anywhere, so it's just failing. By the way, now something wrong with this plus now. I know there's a plus in between, and clicking on it is not doing anything, so let's move to that now, and let's try to fix that. So let me ask it the add button between the 2 points of interest is not working, and also not placed properly. Okay, so again I gave it another feedback that this button, which is supposed to be like a plus symbol, and I can see it as a plus symbol, but it has like sort of its position is not correct, right? So it's trying to be inside a circle, and its positioning within that circle is a bit off. I think that's why it is not looking correctly, and then also when I'm trying to tap it, it's not doing anything. So AI has again is making rather a bunch of changes to, I hope, fix this plus icon issue. So I'm very happy that we are making some progress over our subscriber goal, that we have like put a very, very nominal goal of gaining 10 subscribers, and we can see like how slowly and slowly, like stream by stream, like it is building up, which is really a good thing. And by the way, guys, it is like I've just started this thing, right? It's already it's hardly not even a month of me doing this thing, right? So I know right now I'm not getting like a lot of views and subscribers and so on, but that's not it is always about. Okay, it's about having fun in the process itself, right? I know whatever I'm doing, first of all, I'm enjoying it, right? The whole point of it is that I am having fun while doing it, but also I really want to have some sort of a community. I want to connect with you guys, and connect with who? Connect with the vibe coder, right? The other sort of a developers who are trying to learn vibe coding, who are trying to build their own apps, who are trying to build their own their career doing this thing, right? So I really want to connect with and like find each of you individually and connect with you, even though we are like just 100 strong. Even that, if we are like 100 group of very closely connected individuals, that itself is really, really powerful. We don't need like 10,000 or a million people who would hardly not even interact with each other. If we are even a community of 100 very strongly connected people, and there is a lot of power in even the community of 100 people. Okay, so never feel bad if you have just started something and you're very small. Always things start small, but there is always a potential, and they always grow big. So anyways, so it has done something, I think, regarding fixing this ad, add icon. So I'm trying to rerun the app and I'm trying to see if this add icon is going to be fixed with that. And no, it's not at all. Okay, although when I pressed on it, it did something. Although the positioning is wrong, but when I pressed on it, it is showing me this pop-up model now, which says add a new place. Here you'll be able to search for a new place to add to your itinerary. Let me click on add. What it's gonna do? It does not do anything, which is fine. But let me do one thing. Let me again take a screenshot and let me share this screenshot again, and then I will try to point out that this plus icon between the two points of interest is not looking good, and the whole UI sort of a bit messed up. So I'll ask it to clean it up, and let me quickly share the screenshot again. This is how the UI looks after the latest update. It is better than before, but far from looking nice and modern. Also, the positioning of the plus icon is a bit off, and the lines are broken. Please fix it. Use some icon, well, let me say custom icon library if you need to for using those. Okay, so I'm really trying to emphasize that whatever it is looking right now, it's nowhere interesting at all, right? And I've pointed out few things. I've pointed out that plus icon positioning is not correct. The lines are sort of got disconnected, although earlier it was looking better. So it is trying to add this font awesome library, which will give us some more options to run these, which will give us some more options for adding more icons, right? So let's add this and see if we can really get some new icons. Okay, so last command got failed because we were not in the right directory, but this time it worked. And I really don't want to get into that, trying to overwrite sort of this UI as per what I want, but I'm pretty sure that this is not anywhere near the kind of a UI which I want it to be. But so far, AI has not been able to like generate a very good looking UI yet for this itinerary screen. So I hope with this font awesome, maybe there will be more options to add some more icons. Okay, so okay, there is this plus icon in between now. Yeah, which is better than it was something on the line. So this is better than this thing is better than this, and just plus icon itself is not enough. I think we should have a label with it. Like it should look like a button with add place, you know. So I'm gonna ask you to do that. Also, these car and these things, these circles are too big and they are like not looking very nice. They need to be smaller, rather like a dot. Okay. So what can we do? Let's think a little bit. Let's try to use our own creativity, right? I know I want to outsource it to AI, but I want to use a little bit of my creativity. Okay, first of all, this travel cadence slider, for the time being, I want to hide it. Okay, because it's really utilizing a lot of space and not doing much. So these are my changes or feedback. The first thing is hide the travel cadence slider. Okay, number one. We'll come back to it. We'll find an appropriate place to add it and the user behavior. So it first of all removes that distraction. Then the plus sign should have a button and it should say add place, because just plus in between randomly, it's not really telling anything, right? So the plus sign should be a button with label add stop. Let's add stop. Okay, add stop. Okay. Then these car and these things, I want to make them point and remove the icon from inside of it. And rather, I think the icon is better off along with the name. Okay, along with the name in the card or title of the card, right? Move the icon to the title of the card and make this circle, convert this circle into a dot, a smaller dot. Move the icons for stop points near the title of the place card inside it, and make the circle to a smaller dot. And 0, 10, 3, 10. Yeah, I mean, some time has to be there, but let's add a clock icon. Add a clock icon near the time. Okay, let's first ask it to only make these changes, and let's hope that it will implement these changes, and then we'll further try to give it more inputs. We'll try to nudge it. We'll try to as I said, we are more of a user or a tester of this app than a developer. So we have to think about how, as a user, we would really like to use this app. We would enjoy using this app. Okay, so it has done some more changes, and so let me quickly rerun the app and see what are the changes. So at this point, creativity wise, largely we are only driving the how the app should look, because I think AI is still struggling a bit on that front. So this looks much nicer to me. I mean, it is my own personal opinion. What was earlier, this is a bit better than how it was earlier. Okay, so we have this thing, we have this add stop in the middle, and we have these dots here, right? These are our place of interest, right? And this title has completely gone out of the site, so that's what we need to fix. I don't know if you can see, but there is this title which is, I think, this like source to destination, that is completely not visible, and it should be, I think, in white color, or some contrast issue which needs to be resolved. Now what else should we do? So I was thinking that on top of this line there should be a way to sort of like tap over this line and try to see more details about it, right? For example, it should tell how long it's gonna take, and let's ask AI like what more information can we add. For example, on these lines, so when we tap on this line, probably it with an eye icon, it should give us the detail between, because if you see, although this is like an entire trip between the source and the destination, but there's this travel in between, right, from this to this point. So there should be information regarding this travel, like is it by road, is it by flight, is it by train, is it by walk, right? How long of a travel it is. So I think these kind of information. Okay, let's ask it. The line connecting between any 2 points should provide more details by tapping on it. So add an I in bracket info icon on top of it. What it should tell? It should tell the mode of travel between the 2 points, like air, ship, train, road, or walk. Okay, how long the travel is, probably the other relevant information like temperature, precipitation, right? I mean, if you're traveling between 2 places, you really want to know about these kind of information, like what is the temperature, what are the chances of like some kind of a precipitation occurring, means rain, clouds, things like that, right? Preparation or weather. What else? And any other information that you feel applicable. Okay, so let's ask it about this thing, because when there is a travel between these 2 places, there should be more information, that what kind of a travel, how long it, oh yeah, how long it's gonna take, how long the travel, yeah, that I travel leg. So it's a travel leg, right? I mean, in our entire travel, it is divided between these legs. By the way, right now the things I'm doing, it is not so much of a vibe coding or so much of a building the app, than more of a right, this is called like a product development, right? So as a product owner, that's what differentiates an app. That's what make a app more user friendly, because if you have a better domain understanding, let's say you are building an app and you are a travel expert, or at least you are a very avid traveler, right, who travels quite often. So you would be able to be smarter than others in understanding what are the actual needs of a travel planning app, right? That is where you can really go one step ahead and provide much better user experience, right? That is where the user experience comes from. User experience does not come from like AI writes the code, you write the code, how nice the code is organized, and how in which programming language it is written, and so on, right? User experience comes from the app, right? How user friendly it is to use. And user friendly is also not about how it looks, how many colors it has, how many fonts it has, and all this, right? The user friendliness comes from that user should think, okay, this app is built keeping me in mind, right? This app is built for me. It has really thought about those kind of things that I would be thinking about while using this app. Okay. So for example, if we leave this itinerary just as it is, and between these 2 points, this leg information which I have just added, imagine how useful of information it is, right? First of all, it says it's going to take somewhere 3 hours between this trip to this lunch stop, and there's nothing, no other information, right? It's all completely blank. Like there's just one line connected. Like, okay, so we're going to travel from this to this. Like how, what, in what conditions, right? So that is the kind of information I'm trying to add here. Ideally, we should be able to give an option to launch a Google map. Yeah, that I think that should be the part of this leg, right? Within this leg model, which we are just building, there should be option to, because this whole plan, this whole travel from source to destination is divided between 2 legs, and as per this plan, if anybody will follow, so they would always travel each leg, right? First they will go from here to here, right? They would most likely not jump over from this place directly to this place, right? So we need to give them an option to basically to see the Google map, like how do you travel from this place to this place. So that we need to provide within our leg. So let's add that information now. Okay, so it says it has added that leg information. So let me quickly check that. It added it at the wrong place. This eye icon should have been not near the ads top. It could have been actually beside this, or even on top of the line would have been fine. So this positioning has to be fixed, and now let me click it. So it says mode, road, hours, a duration 3 hours, distance, weather, notes, traffic is expected to be heavy on the I-95, right? So so at least some more details, but as I said, I want to also add an option, get directions, right? There is this close and there is this get directions, and on clicking of this get directions, it should launch the Google map with the source and destination set between only these 2 places, right? So that way we are basically making sure that we are giving them the right direction, how they travel from this place to this place. Okay. And one more thing, add stop. when they click add, when they click add stop, I don't want to show this model like this. I want to recommend few places there, okay, which should come in between these two spots. Most likely the popular places, which of course other tourists will prefer. So let's go one by one. First thing is the eye icon is not placed correctly. Okay, so that eye icon should be rather near the line, but it is right now near the button. That is one. And also one thing I figured out, that because we are asking them to add an option, add a stop, so there should be option to remove any location in between also, right? So we should allow them to remove the stop. So yeah, so other than source and destination, there should be option to remove that. And what else? What was I thinking? Yeah, get direction. For that travel, like, okay, this is one thing. And let's first do these things. And the only other thing which is remaining is upon clicking on add stop, I want to recommend the places in between rather than asking them to sort of search, so on. So I think this URL launcher it is using for deep links. So maybe it will try to create a Google Maps deep link using this URL launcher package. So if you have seen, you would have gone to any web page or anywhere where you click a link and it directly takes you to the app, and not just launches the app, but takes you to a particular screen within your app, within your mobile app, right? Android or iOS. That is facilitated by a feature called deep link, which is where the so there is this URL which has all the data that needs to populate that screen, and of course the app developers has to provide that deep link capability. So it says it has done these things, and let me check that now. Great. This eye icon is still not in place. I thought so. I might need to give it that screenshot again for the eye icon. No. So this is the thing. And did it added this? Yeah, this has added the state directions. And it is launching the maps, right? So this is Google. So that's correct. Maybe I could not test the locations, but at least it is launching the Google Maps app. So that is good. Of course, right now it's dummy. When we will be actually using the real data, we'll be able to better see the Google Map feature. And let's see if this delete works. And it works. See, this pointing this out, right? Overflow by 30 pixel. So this delete icon placing is not, this placement is not correct. I would ask it to place it like somewhere on top, or maybe the bottom of the card. Okay, that is one thing. And this eye icon, okay, let me take the screenshot and share it. As you can see in this screenshot, the eye info icon should be aligned towards the left edge of the app, near to the line, the connecting line, but it is the other side of it. Then move the icon towards left. Okay, and yeah, the delete icon is also giving error that it has gone beyond what it says, overflow, giving error that it is causing overflow by 30 pixel. So move it at the bottom of the card and just label it. Just label it delete. Yeah, or remove. I think remove is more user friendly than delete. Delete is more of a technical or coding oriented term, right? Delete is the delete key on the keyboard, but remove, you're just removing that place from your itinerary, of course. Okay, so again, it says it has done this. Let's again rerun the app and let's see what we have got. Poof, come on. It has now moved this add stop here. No, what not understanding. Now you have moved the add stop button more near the connecting line, but I wanted you to move the info icon to the opposite side of the line, near the left edge. See, again, it's all about this translation thing, you know, where I am trying to verbally explain it something, but it's not so easy to do that. Maybe I would try some try to some like use some marker, like I'll see, with some drawing I'll try to explain, like move this there or something like that. I hope that way it will be much better. Let's see again. Anyways, it is still a bit better, right? So we have eye icon near the line, although I was thinking it could be there, but fine, if it is not, that's okay. And add stop, I was liking it was in between, but it's okay if it is here also. That's fine, because we need some spacing between these two, right? We cannot keep them very close, otherwise it will be very confusing. So this is this icon, info icon, and this is this add stop button. Okay, and this is how the itinerary looks currently, and it isn't bad. Okay, let's do that change where when I ask it to add a stop, it should rather recommend the place than asking us to add a new place. So let's do that change. Upon clicking of the add stop button, it should recommend places to add, not just ask to search for new places. It should recommend nearby places to add, not just ask to search new places. Okay, so that is also a key thing, that we're kind of saving a hassle for user by ourselves suggesting, what is this? Okay, nearby places. So we want to add another Google APIs, which I think is already there. But it's just adding this Google APIs package, I think, preventively, because it's already there. So and very important thing that we should not forget is this title. It is not visible at all, so we need to fix this also. Okay, let's check this now. What it said, nearby place recommendations, add to itinerary, dynamic location switching. Okay, so let's see. If I click on this add stop, what happens? Something should have happened, but I think it has given some error. And of course, these kind of errors are bound to happen because right now we are using some dummy data, and these and it will struggle because it does not have valid place IDs and things like that, right? So it will actually struggle with those, and it is sort of my responsibility to provide it. Like this plan, this dummy itinerary, which I have asked it to create. Ideally, I should have created it with all the information, including the proper place IDs and things like that. So maybe that's what we need to do in our next stream. So far I'm pretty happy with the changes, other than this last change, which is regarding the title of this screen. Let me quickly fix that. The title of the screen is not visible due to contrast issue. Like it is black in color on a dark background. Please fix it. Okay, so after we fix this title, I think our today's stream sort of we can fairly, like, we can put it sort of on a pit stop, because I know there's a lot that can be still done, but I'm facing this limitation that we do not have real itinerary data, those place IDs, and it is finding it difficult to fetch the images and so on. So without which we are not really able to build this itinerary UI very properly, and it's breaking, right? So in our next stream, we'll put the real itinerary data there, so that it will have the images properly fetched. Yeah, now we see this title. it is coming nicely, New York to Los Angeles, California, and this is our trip, right? It starts here, and we have, for each leg, we have this eye icon where it tells everything. It's a mode. Of course, this thing is looking very basic. We can design it much better, right? So this design we can improve upon. We also have this get directions, which launches the Google Maps, which is a good thing. And of course, right now it will struggle because we do not have proper information of these two legs. Then we have this add stop, and then again it is failing because it should ideally be suggesting the popular places, but because of it's not real places within this dummy itinerary, so it is struggling with that. We have this remove option, which is working. So when we click on remove, it has actually removed that leg from in between, right? So I think, yeah, we are sort of getting there, which I wanted this itinerary to be able to have. But yes, there are challenges because the data is not real. So that's what we're gonna do in our next stream, which will happen day after tomorrow, and which will be our 29th episode of Moonlighting session, where we do vibe coding. We build micro-saas apps, web apps, and mobile apps, and so on, right? So I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you learned something from it, and I hope you are not just watching it for entertainment's sake. I hope you're actually doing it. If you were following me, if you were actually doing what I'm doing, right? Not much, like hardly 2 hours or 4 hours if you combine my previous stream and this stream. So within this 4 hours, you would have had like a nice Android app for travel planning. And so if you just keep following what I'm doing, you would be much far ahead than most people who would not be even able to build this, even with AI, even with vibe coding. Okay, so that's the thing. And I really wish that you are able to build your vibe coding apps, you're able to achieve success with your apps. Okay, have a great time ahead. Bye bye. See you for next time. Thank you for watching.